All right, how's it going? This is Blessing Christian Lifestyle. And this is Anthony, and today we're going to read Daniel chapter 5. Daniel chapter 5 is very interesting. This is where we talk about the writing on the wall. Like, we literally talk about the writing on the wall. This is where the phrase came from. So we already went through King Nebuchadnezzar, all right, and he had a dream. Daniel interpreted that dream, and he told him, "Hey, you're gonna be a wild man, and God's gonna humble you." And he was like, "Oh man, like all right." But then, the moral of the story is he keeps going back to not being humble. He's very prideful. So one thing to remember is God really hates pride. All right, being prideful. God hates it. It's all about being humbled. All right. So Nebuchadnezzar gets humbled. How does he get humbled? He becomes a wild man. His heart changes, and he ends up being isolated in the wilderness. And he's a wild man for 7 years, and then eventually he gets humbled and he declares God. It says here, "Now I Nebuchadnezzar praise and extol the honor, the King of heaven, all of whose works are truth, and his ways justice, and those who walk in pride, he is able to put down." So he learns that, and he is humbled, and that's the end of when we finish reading about Nebuchadnezzar. All right. So chapter 5 is going to be Belteshazzar. Here we go. Belteshazzar. Remember, we're still in Babylon. All right. We're still in Babylon. So, Daniel chapter 5. Belshazzar the king made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in the presence of the thousands. So, Belshazzar's having a feast. He has thousands of people. While he tasted the wine, Belshazzar gave the command to bring the gold and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple which had been in Jerusalem, that the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink of them. So this is Nebuchadnezzar's son from chapter 4, all right? The son of the king from chapter 4 is, now it's his son. And he's like, man, we're having such a good time. Hey, bring the silver vessels, bring the gold and silver vessels, which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple. This was taken literally from the holy temple. All right. Whenever they captured, they took the people out of Israel. So he's like, hey, go get those, the gold and silver vessels, which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple, which had been in Jerusalem, that the king and his lords, his wife, his concubines might drink from them. So these are holy dishes, pretty much holy dishes. And they're going to drink out of them, out of these cups, these holy cups. Then they brought the gold vessels that had taken from the temple of the house of God, which had been in Jerusalem, and the king and his lords, his wives, concubines drank from them. So it's like, all right, let's have a drink out of these holy cups. That's a huge mistake. Like, these cups were literally holy, and we're gonna see why they are holy. Man, that's huge. So they drank wine out of them. In the same hour, the finger of a man's hand appeared and wrote on opposite of the lampstand and plastered on the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. So now, all of a sudden, there's a hand writing on the wall, like literally out of nowhere. So that's huge. So they drank out of these holy cups, they drank wine, and now they see a hand literally just writing out a message. So now what's that message? Then the king's countenance changed. Everybody got scared, like, whoa. And his thoughts troubled him so that the joints of the hips were loosened and his knees knocked against each other. So scared, all right. The king cried aloud to bring in an astrologer, Chaldeans, and soothsayer. The king spoke, saying to the wise men of Babylon, whoever reads this writing and tells me the interpretation shall be clothed with purple, have chain of gold around his neck, and he shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. So again, like his dad, hey, bring me all the wise men we have here. Bring me all the smart people in here, and whoever can interpret the writing on this wall, hey, I'm gonna pretty much promote them. All right, it says here, I'm gonna let me say the interpretation shall be clothed with purple, so you're gonna become royalty, and have a chain of gold around his neck, and he shall be the third ruler of. So you're gonna be promoted to the third person in this kingdom of Babylon. So who's gonna get this promotion? All right. Now all the king's wise men came out, and they could not read their writing or make known the king's interpretation. The king Belshazzar was greatly troubled; his countenance was changed, and his lord were astonished. He's desperate. He needs to know what the interpretation is. And the queen, his mother, who was married to his dad, Nebuchadnezzar, because of the word of the king and his lords came to the banquet hall, the queen spoke, saying, O king, live forever. Do not let your thoughts trouble you, nor your countenance. There is a man in your kingdom whom is in the spirit of the holy God, and in the days of your father, light, the understanding, and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. The king Nebuchadnezzar, your uh, your father, the king, made him chief of the magicians, astrologers, and Chaldeans and soothsayers. And as much as an excellent spirit, knowledge, understanding, interpretation, dreams, solving riddles, and explaining enigmas were found in this Daniel, whom the king named Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will give the interpretation. So the queen says, yes, it's the Bible, the Holy Bible here. So he's like, all right, hey, your father knew somebody here in this kingdom who was able to interpret dreams, and he is a holy man of the holy God. All right, so it's like, all right, well, let's look for him and let's bring him forward. All right, so that's what's going on here. So he's gonna bring him forward. He's like, all right, bring him forward. Now here we go. The part with Daniel. Then Daniel was brought in before the king. The king spoke and said to Daniel, are you the Daniel who is one of the captives from Judah, whom my father the king brought from Judah? I have heard of you that the Spirit of God is in you, and that the light of understanding and excellence, wisdom are found in you. Very, very important to have the Spirit of God in you. It says here, the Spirit of God is in you. That's why the book of Daniel, very good example of how you want to be. All right, as a Christian, it says here, hey, I heard you have the Spirit of God in you. All right. And that light and understanding and excellent wisdom are found in you. That's a description that you want to fit. All right. Now, the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me that they should read the writing and make known to me the interpretation, but they could not get the interpretation of the thing. So, astrologers, I know a lot of people are into astrology. The astrologers could not interpret it. Like they're not holy, like they didn't know. And I've heard of you that you can give interpretation, explain enigmas. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me the interpretation, you shall be clothed with purple, have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. All right, so opportunity for promotion here. All right, here we go. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let your gifts be for yourselves and give your rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing to the king and make known to him the interpretation. O king, the most high God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father the kingdom and majesty of glory and honor, and because of the majesty that he gave him, all the people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whoever he wished, he executed. Whoever he wished, he kept alive. Whoever, so he just acknowledging his dad, like, hey, he had a lot of power. But when his heart was lifted up and his spirit was hardened in pride, he was disposed from the kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. So, like, all right, well, let me just tell you what happened to your dad. His heart was hardened, right? He was disposed his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. All right, he hardened in pride. He had so much pride. That's huge. Do not have too much pride. Do not have God hates pride. All right. Then he was driven from the sons of men. His heart made like the beast. So this is pretty much chapter 4. All right, so he's giving them a summary of what happened in Daniel chapter 4. Like, hey, FY, your dad, this is what happened. This is the story, what happened. Here we go. I'm just gonna try to skip through here. But all right, here we go. Verse 22. But you, his son Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this. Like, hey, you knew all this, yet you did not humble your heart. So the whole point of all this is humble your heart. Make sure you have a humbled heart, and you have lifted yourself up against the Lord of heaven. They have brought the vessels of his house before you, and you and your lords, your wives, and your concubines have drunk wine from them. And you have praised the God of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, stone, which do not see or hear or know, the gods who hold your breath in his hand and owns all your ways. You have not glorified. You have so much pride that you took God, like the holy vessels, and you drank out of them, because why not? You have not humbled yourself. That's what he's saying. You have not humbled yourself. It's very important to humble yourself. It says here, you've pretty much, and you have praised using these holy cups. You praised. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. Um, and you have praised the gods of silver, gold, bronze, and iron, so of wealth. All right. Now here we go. His hand owns all your ways. You have not glorified him. So before I read the interpretation, he's letting him know, I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong. You shouldn't have. You were too prideful. That's what you did wrong. Now he's gonna read the interpretation. Then the finger of the hand were sent from him, and the writing was written. And this is the inscription that was written. So this hand was writing, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. So that's what was written on there. And he needed interpretation. So what does that mean? Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. Like, what does that mean? So this is Daniel chapter 5, verse 25. Now he's saying, this is the interpretation of each word, meaning God has numbered your kingdom and finished it. It's like, whoa, that's not good. The first word means like you're finished. God's telling you that you're finished. You're like, whoa. Tekel, you have weighed in the balance and found wanting. Pierce, Pierce, your kingdom has been divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. Like, whoa. Just this is actually a prophecy. All right. Remember, this is Babylon. Who's gonna get the kingdom next? Medes and the Persians. Who's after the Medes and Persians? Alexander the Great, which is Greece. Who's after Alexander the Great? It's gonna be the Roman Empire. Right? That's actually in our history books. Exactly that way. So that's why the book of Daniel, it goes through, you can actually, you know, uh back it up with history. It's like, hey, it's saying here after Babylon, it's gonna be the Medes and the Persians. All right. Then Belshazzar gave the command, and they clothed Daniel with purple. So he got his promotion and put a chain of gold around his neck and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. So I was like, that is huge. Yeah, the Roman Empire. Jesus was around when the Romans were pretty much everywhere. They were taking over. Remember Alexander the Great? He took over so much as well. All right. Here we go. Um, and then it ends with that very night, Belshazzar, king of Chaldeans, was slain, and Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So Darius is now the king of Babylon. All right. The Medes and the Persians take over Babylon. That is huge. Yeah, that is very neat. Yo, it took me forever to kind of fill the puzzle in on all this because I've always heard like, hey, the Book of Daniel is history, and it took me a while to figure out exactly how. I did so much research. I was like, man, but it's really knowing what kingdom came after which kingdom, and this prophecy in chapter 4, it told you what was going to happen. It's like, hey, your kingdom will be overthrown. By I believe it was a metaphor. I believe it's like the heart of bronze, and then I think the grease was like the feet. But so that's what happened. It's like, hey, you're gonna be taken over by the Medes and the Persians, and then after that, it's gonna be Greece, and then after that, it's gonna be the Roman Empire, and then the Roman Empire eventually, divides. All right. So, yeah, that is Daniel chapter 5. All right. It ends with Babylon taken over by the Medes and the Persians. That is huge, man. That is huge. So, chapter 1, we talk about the introduction to Daniel. Chapter 2, I believe that was them in the furnace. Remember, they saw the Son of God in the furnace. Oh, no, no, that was Nebuchadnezzar's dream. My bad. His first dream. Uh, and then I believe third was what they were in the furnace. And then chapter 4, if you want to, you can always look at my other videos. I think the last 3 have been Daniel. So I'm going to do each chapter video by video. And that way you could just go back and check them out. All right. So I just did Daniel chapter 5. All right. It turns over to Darius. Now I want to say Darius was prophesied on. I want to say Darius. I want to say King Darius is actually like in the history. Oh man, I don't remember Darius the Mede. Man, I forgot what. I kind of just started reading. I forgot. I did research on that a long time ago. I think it was like last year. Um, so just a little introduction to chapter 6. They're gonna plot against Daniel again. They're always trying to get rid of Daniel. All right, they're always trying to get rid of them. All right. All right, they're always trying to get rid of that. Thank you for being on. Please subscribe. I am gonna make a lot more videos. All right, I'm actually gonna stop this video and I'm gonna start another video so I could do chapter 6 of Daniel, and then just so on and so on. Chapter 6 is probably gonna be about it's gonna be like a 10-minute read. This one here was a 15-minute read. So I'm about to do it right now. I'm just gonna exit and start over. All right. Thank you very much for being on. God bless y'all. Please subscribe. Please be notified. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless y'all. I'm gonna start it up. All right. Thank you very much.